not go down. But now joining us on the line is Angelique Chengelis from the Detroit News. She is the Michigan football beat writer. Hey, Angelique, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
We're doing great. Thanks for joining us here. Corey Good, Paul Short on the Victor Show. First of all, I guess the topics have changed since we decided to have you on just a little bit. What's your overall take on this whole possible NCAA, possible whatever might come down from this?
Well, I mean, I think that there's definitely a lot of smoke, and I don't know that we've seen a smoking gun yet. I think that there's probably still a lot more to dig into and to look into. It's difficult when most of the players that have been quoted were not on the record. I mean, they were not identified. Pardon me, not off the record. But I think that makes it challenging. But I think that this is going to be a pretty quick process in terms of Michigan's compliance department interviewing the players and staff members. And I think that the whole plan is to get this done as quickly as possible. But they certainly can't control how interested or not interested the NCAA will be in their findings.
Yeah, I guess, the question really on everybody's mind, at least for me, is, the story breaks just a little over a week before the season is about to start, and I just wanted to get your take on that. If they had been, doing this research kind of over the past couple of months, why choose to break the story now?
That I don't know. I can't speak to the Free Press's decision making, and I don't know how long they've been working on this story. I don't know if it was, if they had engineered it to have it come out this close to the start of the season. I really can't speak to that. I mean, it's certainly a difficult time, I would think, for the players. I mean, I would imagine it is a distraction. I'm not there, obviously, at Schembechler Hall. I can't speak to how they're dealing with it, but we are going to practice tomorrow. That's every Wednesday. Rich speaks to the media before practice, and we watch about 30 minutes, and maybe we get a feel for it tomorrow while we're there. But clearly a difficult time for something like this to come out for the program.
And when you look at all of this, I don't know if you've seen in the Charleston newspaper today, the whole West Virginia went back and looked at their records and saw that Rich Rod was clean and he didn't do anything there. How much of this do you think might just be an incidental thing where someone said something and it got misconstrued and now it's just blown up like this?
Well, I don't know how misconstrued. I don't know exactly what their interviews were with players. I've talked to former players, some who were there last season, and they did say that the hours were long and didn't differentiate a lot between how many hours they were there during under Lloyd Carr's when he was head coach at Michigan versus Rodriguez. Said they were very challenging workouts. There was no doubt about that with Mike Barwis last season. And so I'm not saying that those interviews that there was anything shifty about the interviews and what the athletes that they interviewed said. I think that there's probably a kernel of truth there, but listening to all the Big Ten coaches today on the conference call, I get the sense that their feeling is a lot of these players want to come in and work out beyond the 20 hours, and this is on their own. And I think that's where it gets fuzzy. You have to differentiate. You have to really pin them down. Did Rich Rodriguez and his staff say you had to be here this time, and that far surpasses the 20 hours? Or were these athletes doing it on their own? And that's obviously something that they will find out in the investigation.
Final question on this, and then we'll get to the actual season opener. What do you think, in the end, is going to be the outcome on this? Do you think it's going to be something that, because, obviously Michigan hasn't had anything like this happen with their football program before, do you think this is something that will just get Bill Martin and the Michigan faithful so upset that they might use this as a strike against Rich Rodriguez to kind of get him out of here? Or do you think this is going to be a situation where just nothing comes of this?
Well, I don't think Bill Martin's certainly looking for a reason to get rid of Rich. This is his legacy hire in my mind. I mean, he wanted to bring in a guy who would follow the tradition of Bo and the lineage that followed after Bo, and I think he wants to try to defend his coach as much as possible. Now, that said, it's hard to say. I mean, we're trying to look back at history, how the NCAA deals with things. I think it does help that Michigan has not been in trouble with the football program in terms of NCAA violations, and I think that should help. I think Michigan attacking this right away has helped. I mean, my understanding is they start interviewing players Sunday, as early as Sunday, and they want to wrap this up quickly. So I think that they self-report, they give the NCAA, this is what we found, and I think the NCAA then has to decide if it really wants to come in and take a good look at it, a good hard look at it. But if Michigan's convincing enough in what they found, the NCAA may back off because of that precedent of Michigan not being in trouble with the NCAA in prior years. So, It's hard to say. I really got to think this is, mostly, I think most people would term it a secondary violation, and not saying that that's okay, but I don't think it's going to be a vicious punishment if there is one.